Got it. Here's the professionally rewritten, condensed voiceover script. 1,200, 13350 words told in a natural American storytelling style, smooth, personal, emotional, and cinematic. You ever watch someone kick a crutch out from under a person and smile while doing it? Yeah, that happened. My wife had just gotten knee surgery literally the day before, and this woman, this HOA president with a leopard print attitude, looked her dead in the eye and kicked her crutch like it was a piece of trash. My wife nearly fell. That moment right there changed everything, because what she didn't know was that the woman she just assaulted happened to be the county judge assigned to her HOA's lawsuit. Let me back up a sec. We'd just moved into this fancy-looking community called Maple Rest Quiet Streets. Manicured lawns, all that suburbia dream stuff. I'm a legal advisor, my wife Sabrina's a judge, and we figured, hey, we finally found a peaceful place to land. Wrong. Sabrina messed up her knee. Hiking ended up on crutches for 6 weeks, and from the moment we brought her home from the hospital, the HOA, or more specifically, Cheryl, the president, went full dictator. We parked in the temporary disability spot right outside our unit, which I'd gotten full approval for, by the way. And as I'm helping Sabrina out of the car here comes Cheryl marching over like she's patrolling a war zone. That spot's for emergency vehicles only. She barks completely, ignoring the tag hanging from our mirror. Then she points at the crutches and goes, "Those aren't allowed in common areas." Sabrina tries to explain calmly that they're medically necessary, but Cheryl's not listening. Instead, she kicks one of the crutches dead on and watches it bounce across the pavement. I caught Sabrina before she fell, but man, my blood was boiling. I told Cheryl, "You just assaulted my wife. Step back." And for a second, I thought she might. But she just smirked and said, "You newbies have no idea who you're messing with." Thing is, neither did she. That same afternoon, Sabrina opens her laptop, starts laughing, and says, "You won't believe this. She'd just been assigned a new civil case. And guess who the plaintiff was? Yep, Maple Rest HOA. At dinner that night, she broke it down for me. The HOA was suing 5 families for stuff like planting the wrong kind of flowers or having basketball hoops an inch too tall. It was the most ridiculous abuse of power I'd ever seen. And I work in corporate law. I asked Sabrina if she'd recuse herself from the case, and she said, "Not yet. I want to see if this is just us or if there's a pattern." It didn't take long to find out. The next day, we got hit with 2 violation notices, $500 in fines. No real explanation, just a note in scratchy handwriting. "This is just the beginning," signed by Cheryl herself. Sabrina didn't flinch. She told me to document everything, photos, letters, timestamps. That's when I knew she was going full judge mode. Then we met Frank, our elderly neighbor who had lived there for over 20 years. Decorated, veteran, kind guy, and apparently another one of Cheryl's targets. "She's been terrorizing people since the day she got elected," he said. "Nobody stands up to her because they're afraid of the fines." He wasn't wrong. Some families had already moved out. Others were too scared to speak up. But not all of them. Elena, another neighbor, sharp retired journalist, approached us quietly after a meeting and said, "I saw what Cheryl did with the crutch, and I got it on video." Turns out she'd been documenting Cheryl's behavior for months. She had footage of Cheryl screaming at kids, locking up a toddler's tricycle, even measuring someone's grass with a ruler. Elena had receipts, and now so did we. Sabrina started digging into the HOA bylaws and found something huge. Most of the rules Cheryl was enforcing hadn't even been legally approved. No votes, no records, just fake authority and a lot of intimidation. So we formed our little Fair Neighbors Committee, me, Sabrina, Elena, and Frank, and set out to bring Cheryl's kingdom down. We built a secure website for residents to share their experiences anonymously, and the floodgates opened. Over 30 people submitted stories, many with documents, photos, receipts. Elena even connected us to families who had been forced to sell their homes over fake violations. One guy had a lien slapped on his house for having a wind chime that could be heard from the sidewalk. I'm not making that up. That's when Cheryl panicked. She had Derek, her lapdog HOA attorney, send us cease and desist letters. Then she called my job, tried to convince my boss I was mentally unstable. When that didn't work, she summoned Sabrina to a disciplinary hearing, not realizing that Sabrina would soon be the one holding the gavel in court. The hearing was packed. Cheryl strutted in like she was queen of the cul-de-sac, went through her slideshow of our supposed violations, from our doormat being too textured to our garage paint being too shiny. And when Sabrina got up to speak, everything shifted. She didn't plead. She dismantled them, pointed out which regulations weren't approved, cited state law, even had a spreadsheet. Elena passed out printed packets to residents. Frank told his story about being denied a wheelchair ramp. One by one, neighbors started speaking up. Then Elena dropped the bomb. She played the video of Cheryl kicking Sabrina's crutch. The room went dead silent. Cheryl screamed, "I make the rules here." But by then, no one was listening. 2 weeks later, the real trial began, the one where the HOA was suing those 5 families. Cheryl showed up in a navy suit, leopard print heels, and a fake smile. She brought some guy she claimed was a judge to support her. Turned out he was a retired real estate agent who played golf with someone who once was a judge. Then the bailiff said the words I'd been waiting for: "All rise for the Honorable Judge Sabrina Parker." I wish I could have taken a picture of Cheryl's face. You could practically hear her ego collapsing. Sabrina presided over the case flawlessly. The HOA's attorney fumbled through his notes, couldn't prove half the regulations were real. Sabrina cited every violation of process, every abuse of power. Then Elena testified, then Frank, then the families. And when Cheryl finally took the stand, she cracked. Blamed everyone but herself, denied everything, and even said Sabrina shouldn't have been using crutches in common areas anyway. By the end, it wasn't even close. Sabrina ruled in favor of the defendants on every count. She ordered all fines canceled, all improper regulations nullified. Cheryl and Derek removed from their roles full repayment of illegal fines and cherry, on top a restraining order against Cheryl for harassment. And just when you thought it couldn't get more satisfying, Sabrina revealed that Cheryl had been caught on courthouse cameras the day before trying to lunge at her in the parking lot. 2 officers walked up, cuffed Cheryl on the spot. Her last words as they took her away: "Do you know who I am?" "Yeah, we did." 3 months later, Frank was elected HOA president. Elena took over communications. Gardens bloomed. Kids rode bikes. People smiled again. And Cheryl word is she moved to a new neighborhood and already tried running for HOA board there. We made sure her new neighbors got her full file. Funny how it all started with one crutch, one kick, and a judge who decided enough was enough. But let me ask you this: what would you have done in our shoes? Should a judge be allowed to stay on a case like this? Was Cheryl just drunk on power, or is this what happens when good people stay silent too long? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think.